CPS became involved with our situation in February of 2019. Ian had our daughter, and he was also watching his son, who is 6 months younger than our daughter. While Ian was carrying both the children down the stairs, they fell, and his son suffered from brain hemorrhages.
I was going downstairs to take a shower, and I slipped on the carpet. And to save my son, I grabbed him, and he hit my collarbone. But it was purely an accident.
He ended up going to the hospital.
I get there, CPS is already there. They think that I've abused my son.
CPS was getting ready to close the case in May of 2020 when an incident happened with our daughter. One day, I let Ian have both of our children for the day. We picked them up that night, and they were both fine. And then the next morning, I noticed she had a black eye forming, and her nose had a cut on it. I do not know what happened. Somebody alerted CPS. It was alleged that I hurt her. I thought maybe it was Ian. I don't know. I was asked to take my kids to the emergency room to get full body x-rays. And then the next day, CPS showed up at my mom's house and they told me, we're drug testing you for LSD. However, my drug test came back clean.
I feel guilty because I knowingly gave my 2 kids back to Jess while she was high on LSD.
I was not high or intoxicated when I went to sleep that night. I admitted to my wrongdoing and it was used against me.
And then the next day, they took the kids into foster care, and they've been in foster care since that day.
I felt like I wanted to die. Like my whole world was ripped away from me. It's been 1.5 years since I lost my kids. We are in my kids' room. It's hard living without them, period. I feel like I'm living in a world that's not my own because I'm without my family.
We have jumped through every hoop. They don't care if we get our kids back. I believe I should have my kids back 100%. I'm not the monster that they say I am.
I would do anything to get them back. Ian has anger issues. He flies off the handle really easily. Holes in the walls, objects being broken, destroyed. He yells at me when he's already reached that point of no return. Sometimes I've been afraid of him.
CPS does know about my anger. They have used it against me. That could be a reason they haven't given our children back. I will protect my kids to the fullest. I will go to prison over my kids. I don't care who you are. I owe them my life, and I will give it to them.
Ian and Jessica have been in an on-again, off-again relationship really for the last 6 years that has involved yelling, screaming, crying, broken furniture, and even domestic violence. They say they've shown CPS there has been no violence in their relationship for quite some time, certainly recently, but how bad has it been?
Jessica has seen my anger. I have harmed her.
One day, I was getting ready to take a nap with the kids, and he comes storming into my bedroom and throws his phone at me, and then leaves. So I was going through his phone. There was a message from a female, and it was a naked picture. I went out to the living room. I showed the phone to him. I was livid. I was seeing red at this point. I slapped him across the face, and I said, "Get out of my house," before I call the cops. And so he immediately went in for the chokehold.
I do remember her coming out, slapping me as hard as she can, which triggered me. In response, I reached out and I grabbed her neck with both hands, strangling her.
What I remember is looking at him in his eyes and just trying to, I guess telepathically, try to get to him and say, "You don't want to do this."
When I did let her go, I stormed out with a knife into the garage. There was a bowling ball. I threw it through her SUV front window. I stormed off saying if she was to call the cops, I'm gonna have them shoot me. Suicide by cop.
I called the cops on him. He ended up getting arrested and was eventually charged with criminal menacing. Whatever mental health issues he has going on in his head, I would absolutely compare it to a demon. It turns him into this person I do not recognize. Ian's family looks at me as though I am the antagonizer in our relationship. And although I will admit, I know that I have toxic traits. I don't think his family understands his mental health and how bad it really is. His family sees me as a scapegoat and they give Ian a pass.
One person that has seen this drama unfold from the beginning is Ian's mother, Pamela. Now, she has some strong feelings about this situation and who is to blame.
I have only seen my grandchildren a handful of times since they've went into foster care, and that's been a year and a half. I do not believe the situation with CPS was fair to them at all. It's very heart-wrenching not knowing when you're going to get your kids back. Ian absolutely loves his kids. He would never hurt any of them. His kids love him. I blame Jessica because she started doing drugs. It's not okay for her to be on drugs when she's with the kids. I believe that Ian and Jessica are very toxic together. Jessica constantly nags. I describe it as a chihuahua that just comes at and just doesn't stop until Ian gets mad. I believe that Jessica does push Ian's buttons, and then once he's there, she just doesn't stop. Ian is not stable right now, and I hate to say that about him. He doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a place to live. Ian needs his kids back in his life full time so that he can get his life turned around. His mental health has declined since all this has started. I believe the best scenario for these kids is to be back with their parents, even if it's Jessica that gets them back.
Ian is emotionally unstable. I believe he's capable of killing me. I mean, nobody wants to admit that, but look, he's a lot stronger than I am. He's a lot more intimidating than I am. I have seen his anger at his very worst, and it is scary. I do not think he's a lost cause, but if CPS came to me and said, Jessica, we will give you your kids back, but we cannot give them back to Ian right now. I mean, I would obviously get my kids back.
They lost custody.
Was your daughter injured in your care?
Yes.
And how'd that happen?
I don't know.
And that's not all.
You say, I slapped him, he choked me, there was a knife involved, he threw a bowling ball through my windshield. What am I missing?
Next, Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.